brand new you,
A brand new you.
and a brand new me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Together we will see a brighter day.
I love that.
Time to get back to work.
Hey everybody, welcome to this Sunday evening / night / Monday morning edition of the 30-day challenge. And I don't need to wear the headphones anymore. And yes, for the record, I am recording. So welcome everybody. The best news that I can give you is the hardest parts are now all over. Okay, if you've got to day 9, everything is coasting from now on. And I've got to say, hopefully now that you've seen all the incredible tools, techniques, and tricks that we had, well, until the last week of the challenge, we've got a couple more up our sleeve, but hopefully now that you can see that while we put such emphasis on you researching, we do it for a reason. Because once you have actually found that phrase, that category, that micro niche, the ability for you to act upon that and get a test up and running so quickly and then get Google to notice it is now, what, a 40-minute process. It used to take a couple of days. So I hope you can see that even if you're behind a bit, or even if, you haven't started yet, you've still got plenty of time. You really do. And, something I said in an audio Boo message. How good is Audio Boo, by the way? I don't know if you guys have seen it. And Alison Reynolds, thank you. That was another one of your recommendations. How good is that? It is so cool to have my iPhone wherever I happen to be and record something in such incredible quality and have it go out to you guys. Anywho, point was that I was talking in that, and I think it might have even been the question and answer session on Thursday, and I made this point, and that was even more important than following along and just doing the tasks that we set on a daily basis. Far more important to you, is if you are able to carve out a period of time each and every day for your online marketing business, you are going to get results. You can't help it. And that is actually the core of creativity. It's the core of everybody who's ever been successful at anything, is that turning up. And if you're a runner, it's turning up, it's training, it's running. If you're a musician, it's practicing, it's doing those scales, it's playing those songs. Nothing beats action taking time. And when you think about it that way, maybe I would like to think the 30-day challenge isn't quite such a challenge, in the sense that, boy, I know for a fact, if you spent 30 days from now just being able to dedicate a period of time a day between now and 30 days later, you are going to be so much further along. You are, by definition, scientifically, going to have made a difference. And that, I think, is the best thing about it. I think I also, in what was a world first, quoted from Miley Cyrus, on the question and answer session from last week. And her latest song, The Climb, has this fantastic line in it, as it's not about what's over the other side, it's about the journey, it's about the climb. And I think that's a very clever line, because everything that I've read this and experienced and seen points to that. Anybody who's had any success at anything understands that it's not the success, it's not winning the competition, it's loving the journey to get there and enjoying the fact that you turn up each day. And that is the real difference. And I often talk about, whether it be Gary Halbert or Stephen King as a writer. What does Stephen King as a writer do? Every day he sits down and he knocks off 1,500 words. That's it. He sits down, and if it takes him 30 minutes, it takes him 30 minutes. If it takes him 2 hours, it takes him 2 hours. But he turns up every day and knocks off 1,500 words. And you knock off 1,500 words, it's just under 50,000 words a month, which is well on the way to a novel. And to me, the most fascinating part of studying successful people is studying their habits. And there is a commonality, and there is an absolute commonality amongst all people who've had any sort of success, And that commonality is turning up regularly, on a regular basis, showing up. And that is the key. And if we can, and it was interesting, Lynn Terry pointed this out, my colleague over at Internet Marketing This Week, is one of the best things we do here at the 30-Day Challenge is we show you how to show up and get into a habit of working in your online business. All right, now I've got quite a few interesting things here. I'll just play around with my screen here a little bit. Got quite a few interesting things that I wanted to talk to you about today. Now that we've covered off, we've been at this 9 days now, and today was a rest catch-up day, although how about that rank tracker? Boy, that's probably my favorite Market Samurai feature, I've got to say, because it just saves so much time to be able to put in your little, both on the actual rank tracker screen and then to be able to follow along with your particular URL on your SEO matrix screen. Between those two functions, can't tell you how much time that saves. In the old days, we used to have to you have to scroll down the screen and count. It was crazy. So just totally enjoying that. But now we've got through, I suppose, the core of the market research. And what is, these first 9 days are it's where the money's made. Do right here and everything else flows and clicks into place. Take a shortcut here and it will come out and bite you on the botutski very, very soon. It's just the nature of it. It's unsexy to market research. I love market research. Nothing gets me more excited. In fact, I don't know if you guys saw it on the weekend. I took the girls into the city on, our Sunday. It's still Sunday afternoon there in the US, but our Sunday afternoon. And there was all these dudes jumping over everything. I mean, literally jumping over everything, climbing up walls and doing all this thing. And I noticed these guys in black shirts and they had a URL, so that always interests me. And I got a bit closer and it was the Victorian, now excuse any French people who are up very late at night, parkour, which is that really cool thing. I don't know if you saw the James Bond film. The last couple of openings have featured world champion parkour. Somebody in the, thank you, Nicholas, in the chats there. It's extraordinary. It's these people are like, human monkeys. Does that make sense? They are extraordinary. Like their ability to climb up walls. You just type it into YouTube and check it out. Unbelievable. But anyway, I'm watching these guys, and these guys have a website. They have, and they're teaching all these people. There must have been 50. Mainly, if I was looking at the demographic, 15 to 25-year-old blokes. But they were teaching. It was a course. It was an information marketing thing on parkour. It is brilliant. And I thought, wow, niche. So come in, fire up Market Samurai and check it all out. That's what I talk about when we talk about market research. And that's why I love it so much, because it's just about keeping your eyes open to see what's around you, and that makes it really exciting. So, what are some of the things that have changed since last year? One thing now that we've gone through, and particularly the last couple of days, using the incredible traffic bug. How about traffic bug? Again, something that used to take, ages and ages is done at a click of a button, which is brilliant. And the even better story, of course, is the gang at Traffic Bug were just like you last year. They all were just sitting there doing the 30-day challenge and realizing what a pain in the neck social bookmarking was and decided to write a better solution. And let me tell you, as somebody who has attempted what they tried, it's no mean feat. It's an extraordinary amount of effort to do. And that was brilliant. Now, there's a reason why a huge change from last year was, of course, last year, the more social bookmarking links you had, Google actually counted those social bookmarking lists. They became backlinks, as Guru Bob's been teaching you about. No more. They don't at all. The only function social bookmarking serves is to let Google know and say, hey, Google, here we are. Come and check out our site at some point. That's what it does. And Traffic Bug does that, but it also gets you backlinks as well. Now, I want to make a very important point here about Traffic Bug and WordPress Direct and everything that we're teaching. And the point I want to make is this, and I've commented on it in a couple of different forums around the planet this weekend, and that is, don't confuse clever automation with spamming. Don't confuse clever automation with spamming. Everything that we do with WordPress Direct, Market Samurai, Traffic Bug are all things that you can do manually. And in fact, as veteran 30-day challenges will tell you, we used to do them manually. So now, of course, we've got these extraordinary tools which allow us to save so much time. As Cheryl Locke, I saw her tweet this morning, we're going to have to start renaming the 30-day challenge the 15-day challenge if we come out with any more of these tools. They're time savers. That's a very, very different thing to something that is set up to be automated, that doesn't require any human intervention, skill, or quality control, and is just used to literally spam, like, say, these Twitter direct messages that, of course, we all warned people about literally years ago. But those sorts of things are completely different, and that's why it's so important not to confuse clever automation to save you time as opposed to mindless automation which spews out crud onto the internet. And, we all recall, a couple of years ago when you used Google almost became unusable because of all of those horrible spam sort of AdSense sites. And, of course, they knocked them on the head, thank goodness. And on we go. In fact, it's going to be really interesting this week because as I turn over to Michelle McPherson and Caro McCordy, and they show you some of the brilliant sites that are really working, you'll see some names that might surprise you. But again, we'll save those for this week. But again, keep tuned. So big change from this year to last year, of course, is the value and usage of social bookmarking. It's still important, but you only need to do it once. That's it. It's done. Pop your thing into Traffic Bug, press the button, leave it. You've got other things that you need to focus on. So that's the beauty of that process, which is great. Let's have a look here. I have notes today, yes. Yes, that's right. We're already seeing, surprisingly, I might add, you can expect your site to take, 70 to 72 hours for it to appear in Google, okay? That is what we would consider our standard amount of time. Surprisingly, some people are having some extraordinary results on the forum. I think I saw 19 minutes, 9 minutes, some extraordinary speed. That, I would say, is the exception rather than the rule. You really need to allow 48 to 72 hours for your site to appear in Google, and depending on the competition and so on, will rate how highly it goes. We've got a lot of work to go. It's just the start. But now that we have sites coming into Google, we have to warn you of something that will happen. This is a cast. There's not much we can guarantee in the 30-day challenge, but I can give you a absolute cast iron guarantee. And when people flock to the forum when this happens, I beg you to point them to this show and explain to them this. Here's what will happen. At some point after you've ranked and you've done successfully, your site is going to disappear from Google. Nothing is surer. The sun will rise here at around 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. I also am that certain that your site will disappear from Google at some point. And it's a test. Google is testing to see the relevancy and whether people are still interested in that particular article that you posted post the initial news. The analogy is to news. Think about it. In last night's news, 95% of what was mentioned will never be mentioned again. It happened that day. What do they say? Well, it's a UK and Australian term, I suppose, that yesterday's news is today's fish and chip wrapper. The relevancy of news and of any article goes pretty much 99 out of 100 times is completely useless once the event has happened. And Google realizes this, which is why it gives such prominence to blog posts and these sorts of things early, but then it takes them out of the rankings again because, like most news, it's not relevant after the fact. How does it tell if something's relevant? Is if people are continuously linking to that particular article again and again over time. That tells Google, hey, this is relevant. People are still interested in this. And so that's what's important. So at a point in time, after your site's been ranked, it can happen in a couple of days, it can happen in a couple of weeks, it can happen in a couple of months, but it will happen. Google rips you unceremoniously from the index. You will disappear. And you'll go, what? What's happened? And you'll go to the forum and you'll freak out. We still freak out. It's completely natural, not your fault, to go to the forum and freak out, right? You should be thrilled when this happens. Because usually what happens, if you continue to backlink, if you continue to do what we will teach you to do over the next couple of weeks, you'll come back, and 9 times out of 10, you'll actually come back higher than when you were taken out. But it's scary. And if it's never happened to you before, if you're new to this and you've invested all this time and energy and you wake up one morning, check your Market Samurai rank tracker, and you are gone, there's lots of red numbers there in the rank tracker, it is a tough thing to deal with. And so I'm giving you the warning right now so you don't have to freak out about it. It's a test, because what would happen if you were a spammer, if you're a robot looks at that and goes, I'm just going to go off and do the next thing now. You know, they leave it, because people who spam, people who do all this stuff are inherently lazy. They're not interested in building a business. It takes hard work. It takes hours. You all know this. There's no successful business that doesn't take a lot of time. Notice I didn't say a lot of money. In fact, I think you'll be hard-pressed to... Most businesses I know that have a flush with cash when they start fail miserably. In fact, if you can give me an example of one that was heaps of cash when it started and did really well, I'd be interested to hear it, because I keep looking for an example. So that is that point I wanted to make. I think it's a very important point, and we talked about the chunking, which is great. Of course, I've also talked about that the hardest part is over, which is fantastic. Now, one thing I'm noticing in the forums a lot is, because Market Samurai is such an in-depth tool and there is so much to it, and we are literally only still scraping the surface of what it is capable of. I think a lot of people are asking, what about this? What does this have to do with it? What does this number mean? If we haven't talked about it yet, there's a reason. There's a reason we haven't talked about it. We really need to get you to focus on specifically what we've talked about. It also goes to other training that you might have had. It's interesting, to give another analogy. Suzuki, my daughter, Hannah, does Suzuki piano, and it's a particular methodology. And it's been such an eye-opener for me, because it really rams home what is successful, what makes a person successful. And all those lessons that I talked to you at the start of the top of the program are ingrained in the Suzuki training and methodology. Some would say not exciting, not sexy, but as I've come to realize, creativity isn't exciting or sexy. It is a matter of turning up and doing the work day after day. The most creative people in the world, on the planet, the Picassos, the Mozarts, the Beatles, the whoever, were brilliant at showing up each day and practicing their craft. They didn't have incredible bursts of inspiration. It's working every single day to make that inspiration happen. Fascinating to me. And Suzuki is very much like that. Now, to that end, Suzuki find it very hard. In fact, they discourage students that have been taught somewhere else and then coming into Suzuki. And the reason that they do this is because they know that they come in with a whole lot of preconceptions, and effectively they have to knock those preconceptions down before they even get to the ability to learn something. This concept is also, as I reach over here, awesome book. This concept is also very much in martial arts. And if you look at any of the major martial arts, Aikido being the kick-ass king of martial arts, I know that'll cause comments, but in martial arts, they talk always about being a beginner's mind. In fact, people consider the black belt as being the highest belt in most martial arts. It's not true. The highest belt in most martial arts is the white belt, which also happens to be the belt you get when you start, the beginner's belt. Why do they do that? Because they realize that to get anywhere, even if you are you make Bruce Lee look like a pussy, for you to improve, to get anywhere, you have to approach anything with a beginner's mind. Getting all zen on you, but it's an important point. So it comes back to this following the steps. And if you've read something that somebody does somewhere else, or all that, could, all well and good, could fit in somewhere. But if you're beginning out, remember our spectrum, our beginning spectrum. If you're, good old over here at level 1 or level 2, and you've read a whole bunch of stuff, as they say, that knowledge can be dangerous. You really just have to do the 30-day challenge for what the 30-day challenge is. Keep in mind, don't worry, I'm not saying that the 30-day challenge is the only way to go about things. Nothing could be further than the truth for that. Absolutely not. This is one way of getting started. And, as you go on, and hopefully you are going to continue on and create a business online, or take your current business online, you'll find there are many strategies. There are many methods for traffic, many methods for conversion, many methods for product creation. Many of those. We're showing you one path. And we spend so much time, particularly in this first week, on this market research and testing phase, because we know that 95% of problems are picked up now. If you do it right now, everything is smooth sailing. It's like it just clicks into place. If you cheat, if you bend the rules, if you just stretch it a little bit, or you go with a matrix that's a little bit, got a little bit more competition than you'd probably like, it's going to catch you in the end. So keep that in mind. Next thing I have here is I want to talk to a couple of categories or groups of people that are doing the 30-day challenge. The first one is, there are many thousands of you who are small business owners, and you're using this. You have an existing business, and you're using the 30-day challenge to improve your existing business. Good idea. It is something that we really heartily encourage. There is a couple of differences. There are certainly a couple of differences in terms of what we teach. And the classic one is very much in terms of the rules we use for clarifying what is a good keyword phrase. Okay, and I'll use a very specific example. If you were a motor mechanics here in Moonee Ponds, if you had 80 people calling up each day, which is effectively what we're, suggesting you do, we want 80 people to walk through your door each day with the SEOT, Search Engine Optimized Traffic number, you'd go nuts. It'd be nice for a day or so, but if you consistently had 80 people, you couldn't deal with that traffic. You couldn't handle that traffic. That traffic doesn't exist in a motor mechanics in Moonee Ponds. You don't need to have that amount of traffic. So when you're looking to optimize for your business, your small business, medium-sized business, large business, and when you're looking at things like locations and regions and all these sorts of things, if you had 5 people coming to your website each day, that would be totally awesome. If you had 2 or 3, depending on the type of business that you use, that would be brilliant. I'm reminded of the guy who provides jumping castles for the girls' birthday parties here. And he did the 30-day challenge 2 years ago. And he gets 3 or 4 inquiries a week through his 30-day challenge efforts, and he's wrapped, because that keeps him going. He's dropped the yellow pages now. They used to charge him something like $8,000 a year, using that wonderful marketing methodology of blackmail to keep him in. And he was able to drop his yellow pages advertising because this was more effective. People were going online and searching for jumping castles. This is the sort of thing that you want to encourage. So with small businesses, you just got to use a little bit of common sense with the traffic numbers. The SEOC, the competition, is still important. And that may mean that, if you've got usually it's so much easier for small businesses. As a general rule, this whole thing works so much better for small businesses because the competition levels are usually very low. Let's face it, most small businesses don't have a clue about what we're saying here. So you are really bringing a gun to a knife fight online. And usually the numbers are much better. So it makes sense. So if you're looking at knocking out phrases that are only going to bring you 5 or 10, bits of traffic a day, for your business, particularly for a real world business, you still want to target that traffic. It still makes sense because we're talking about leads there. We're not talking about information marketing businesses where we want 200 people having a look at our site, so just one will buy something. That's what we're talking about here. So it makes a lot of sense to do that. The other group I wanted to address was all of our musicians, artists, painters, photographers. And I wanted to talk to you about the elements and some of the things that you need to be thinking about when you're going through this past market research week. Again, for your particular, people searching for you specifically, you as an artist, Ed Dale, photographer, Ed Dale, guitar player extraordinaire, I wish. Ed Dale, guitar player extraordinaire, very few searches, trust me, like none. But if somebody actually was searching for Ed Dale, guitar player, I would want to be there with bells on, and I'd want to have those 10 positions in Google, and you can own those positions. You need to own those positions where people are searching for your name, because if an event, event promoter goes online to check you out, you want to make sure when they type in your name, you're covered as an artist, as a photographer, and so on. Even if that is not generating you traffic, it's about supporting your artistic endeavors and giving you a sense of gravity and presence, dare I say it, market leadership in your particular area. This also works in small business as well. And I know a number of successful people who have gone on to take 30-day challenge lessons and create very successful small business consulting businesses in their region by showing people how to do that. And of course, nothing's more effective than showing a small business owner, look, there you are in number one. I did that for you. How about that? Pay me money. Because if you don't, your competitors are going to be there next week. No, I don't encourage that. I don't encourage that sort of selling, please. Kidding. Now, so for artists, first of all, you do have to be all over your particular name and as your name as linked to your particular discipline. But now, if we're talking about then attracting traffic, as let's again say for the fact that you use photographer, you need to start thinking about the types of people. Think about the people who, let's use fine art photography, which is really hard work, okay? That's about as tough a gig as you can get, particularly if you're starting with no profile. Step one is to own all of your names, your phrases, etc., 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 using the 30-day challenge method. Even though the competition is going to be virtually non-existent, great, unless, of course, and now this is an interesting thing, Ed Dale, there's me and there's a real estate agent in Winnipeg in Canada who got eddale.com because I wasn't allowed to buy it because of a domain registrar here in Australia. I hate you. You know who you are. So he's got eddale.com, right? And he's a real estate agent. But fortunately, there are no famous NFL stars. There are no movie stars that are Ed Dale. There are no, I don't have to compete on names. Some people will have a famous movie star or something like that, and you're screwed in the sense that you really have to do some work, okay, to get your name registered inside of Google. And what does Market Samurai do? It'll tell you exactly what you need to do. And this is where you need to consider. So this is another area where you need to fight for that, even if that takes you 6 months, 12 months to do, which it might do if the person's popular, but you will get there. You will get there eventually. You follow what we teach you in the 30 days and you apply it over a long period of time, you'll get there eventually. So that's part one. Part two, the other thing you have to start thinking about is, okay, we're a fine art photographer. Okay, so how do we get traction for fine art photography? The questions you have to ask yourself are, who is the classic person who is interested in fine art photography. I remember Melinda, when she was doing her wedding planning secrets, she'd actually have a photo on a computer monitor of a bride who was planning her wedding. And she'd always look at that and ask, what are you searching? What are you looking for? What do you want? And I encourage you to do the same thing. What's the type of person? Who's your ideal client? Once you determine who your ideal client is, then you determine what other things they're typing in. What are the types of stuff that they're interested in? Does it make sense that somebody who's interested in collecting fine art, for example, would go to gallery openings? Yeah. Do you think, with a little bit of clever work with 30-day challenge action, that you could associate your name and your webpage with your work, your art, with particular galleries or particular types of, it could be disciplines, it could be landscape or whatever you happen to do, or particular subject areas? Think about who the client is that you're trying to attract, and then think about, what are they looking at online? Who are they looking for? Who are they searching? And that is where you need to focus. I hope that makes sense, because if you get that and you get that, so it's often not the literal term, fine art photography. Although, boy, if you can get fine art photography, go for it. Go for your, attack it. Because it's only going to help you. There's a third stage which is out of the scope of today, but then you have to start becoming known in your marketplace. And the great news for you guys is that this is so easy to do. It is so easy to do. It is a step-by-step process. And we'll be covering the basics of that inside the 30-day challenge. And obviously we do other things which really get into that. But it's very important for you guys to work out and check that out. So there you have it. That's the notes I've had for today. We will take some questions. In fact, I better turn on my iChat, because I'm sure the lads have been trying to contact me and I haven't had iChat on. Sorry. Nez, you might need to invite me in. And we're going to have a break here for a couple of minutes, as we traditionally always do. And then we are going to come back with questions and answers. So have those ready. Remember, Caro will be copying them onto me and then sending them through iChat so I can follow along. So if you've asked the question, it will be picked up, and I'll always give you a chance at the end of the program to, of course, follow back up. So don't panic. If we will get all your questions as we do each time. All right. With that, let's go to the theme song, and I will see you back in a couple of minutes with questions and answers. Speak soon.
Yo, 2K9 TDC, everybody online, yeah, you and me. Can you feel the love? Can you feel it online? August rolls around, baby, time to shine. Big Bad Ed, yeah, he the man. The I Am King with a trust and plan. You got Rain Man 2 with his G and bling bling. And a gorgeous Carol, always doing a thing.
Looking for a better way to use my time, searching for a better time to live my life.
Hoping for a better life to give to mine. And then you find 30 days that come along and simply change your life. A brand new you and a brand new me. Together we will see a brighter day. A brand new you and a brand new me. Together we will see a brighter day. Now I understand I'm not alone. Now I have a light to shine me home.